Buenos días.
If you have your Bible, please open it with me to Joshua chapter 9.
Si tienen sus Biblias, por favor, ábranlas a Josué capítulo
I know we
9.
already said hi to the people visiting from England, but I lived in England for a year. I lived in Southampton.
Pastor Jonathan vivió un año, de hecho, en Inglaterra.
So the British have a really soft spot in my heart. So welcome.
Así que los de Inglaterra tienen un espacio especial en su corazón.
I can tell there's also a big group visiting over on this side, so welcome as well.
Y también hay que darle la bienvenida al grupo que nos está visitando, que está por acá.
So if you're not familiar with Calvary Chapel or Horizonte, what we do is we just take books of the Bible and we study them from beginning to end. So right now we're in the middle of Joshua.
Y si no estás familiarizado como aquí en Horizonte o Capilla Calvario, lo que hacemos es que estudiamos un libro de la Biblia completo, de pasta a pasta, y ahorita estamos en el libro de Josué.
So like I said, Joshua chapter 9, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray to get us started, and then we're going to kind of read the whole thing, and I'll explain a few things, and then at the very end, we'll take a look at the entire chapter and pull out some applications for our lives.
Entonces vamos a orar, vamos a leer el capítulo y después vamos a ver a grandes rasgos.
So will you pray with me?
Ok, vamos a orar.
Jesus, I thank you so much for this opportunity to come before your word,
Jesús, te damos gracias por darnos la oportunidad de venir delante de tu palabra,
to study it, to be challenged by it, to be changed by it.
para ser retados y ser cambiados por medio de ella.
Jesus, I pray that this would be not only alive to us, but because we know that it's alive, but that it would actually change us from the core.
Y Jesús, te pedimos que no solamente sea tu palabra viva, porque sabemos que lo es, pero que nos cambie desde adentro.
I pray that we would have open hearts and open ears to hear.
Te pido que podamos tener oídos y corazones abiertos.
We love you, Jesus. It's in your name we pray.
Te amamos, Jesús, y oramos en tu nombre.
Amen.
Amén.
So there's people here that when they think of Satan, they think that he only attacks in a very obviously malicious, negative, dark way.
Existen personas aquí que cuando piensan en el enemigo o en Satanás, piensan que este ataca de maneras muy obvias o muy malas.
That is going to be appealing to kind of your desire to do what is evil.
Que siempre te va a estar tentando a tus deseos y hacer el mal.
That it's obviously going to be something terrible, like cheating on your wife or hurting somebody or stealing, I don't know.
Que siempre te va a guiar a hacer algo muy malo, como engañar a tu esposa o herir a alguien o a mentir.
And true, Satan does attack us at times in that way, very brutal, very frontal, very obvious, very evil.
Y es cierto, Satanás a veces sí nos ataca de maneras muy obvias, muy brutales, muy malas.
But we're going to see in this story that oftentimes Satan doesn't attack us in an obviously malicious way, but a lot of times he deceives us in a way that seems to be good.
Pero hoy vamos a ver en el capítulo de hoy que Satanás puede atacar de maneras muy que no son tan obvias y que nos engaña pensando que estamos haciendo el bien.
And a lot of times we think that Satan just tempts us to do what is evil. Sometimes he wants to appeal to our desire to do good and will deceive us into doing something that's not good.
Pero muchas veces Satanás no solamente nos tienta a hacer el mal, sino que nos tienta a nuestros deseos y hacemos el bien, pero terminamos haciendo algo que no es bueno.
Actually, the very first attack that he had on mankind was on Eve, and he didn't say, do this and you'll be disobedient and you'll be evil.
De hecho, la primera vez que Satanás tienta a la humanidad fue con Eva, y él no le dijo a Eva, haz esto y sé desobediente y sé mala.
He says, do this and you will be like God.
Sino que le dijo, haz esto y serás como Dios.
Satan will try to get us to do something that we think is good, but will ultimately hurt us and those around us, and that's exactly what we're going to see in this story.
Satanás a veces nos tienta a hacer cosas que aparentan ser buenas, pero al final solamente nos hiere a nosotros y herimos a otros.
But this is what makes Christianity so difficult.
Y eso es lo que hace al cristianismo algo tan difícil.
How do you know if something is an opportunity from God to bless you or a distraction from Satan to derail you?
¿Cómo sabes que viene algo que es de Dios para bendecirte o que es de algo que viene de Satanás para destruirte?
So let's just go ahead and look at the story starting in Joshua chapter 9.
Entonces vamos a ver la historia en Josué capítulo 9.
It says, now, and it came to pass when all the kings who were on this side of the Jordan, in the hills and on the lowland and the coast and the great sea toward Lebanon, Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite heard about it, and they gathered together to fight with Joshua and Israel with one accord. So let me kind of explain what's going on.
Ok, voy a explicar un poco qué es lo que está sucediendo.
Joshua defeats a big city called Jericho and then defeats a small city called Ai.
Primero, el pueblo de Israel le vence milagrosamente a un pueblo grande que se llama Jericó y después a una nación que se llama Ai.
And so what the nations in Canaan, which is the promised land, realize is that no one city will be able to defeat the children of Israel, so they decide to do a coalition of nations to fight against Israel.
Y lo que se dan cuenta las naciones en Canaán, que era en la tierra prometida, es que nadie iba a poder vencer al pueblo de Dios. Entonces hacen una coalición para que no los vayan a derrotar a ellos.
And the enemies of the people of God are preparing, like I said, a brutal frontal assault on Israel where they attack with everything. We will see that in chapter 10.
Y en el capítulo 10 vamos a ver cómo las naciones se juntan y trabajan juntas para afrontar y asaltar al pueblo de Israel.
But there's a little contrast. It says there's people that attack by making a coalition and a union of different nations to go against Israel.
Entonces podemos ver el contraste que hay naciones que se juntan y hacen una coalición para ir en contra de Israel.
But then verse 3 says, but when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they worked craftily and went and pretended to be ambassadors, and they took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, old and patched sandals on their feet, old garments on themselves, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy. And then they went to Joshua to the camp at Gilgal and said to him and to the men of Israel, we have come from a far country, now therefore make a covenant with us. So there's this people of Gibeon, and they decide to deceive Joshua and the people of Israel.
Y entonces después está este pueblo de Gabaón que decide engañar al pueblo de Israel.
It says they were crafty in verse 4.
En versículo 4 dice que lo hacían con astucia.
And so what they decided to do was pretend that they were from very, very far. They used old clothes, and they had old wineskins, which is where they would carry their wine, and it was all torn and sewn together.
Y lo que hicieron es que ellos pretendieron ser de unas tierras muy lejanas y traían ropa muy desgastada y tenían los cueros viejos, los odres donde ponían el vino.
Now, here's the thing. Moses told Joshua that they could not do any treaty with the people of Canaan.
Y antes de eso, lo que Moisés le había dicho a Josué es que no podían hacer ningún trato con alguna persona que no fuera de ellos.
But outside of Canaan, they could make treaties. And so they're saying, we're not from here. We just don't want to have issues with you in the future. We've heard about what you guys have done, and we respect that.
Entonces Moisés les dijo que no podían hacer ningún trato con las personas de Canaán, pero estas personas fingieron ser de otras tierras lejanas y le dijeron, pues nosotros ni siquiera somos de aquí, solo no queremos problemas con ustedes.
And notice verse 7, the Israelites are actually pretty smart. They don't get fooled.
Y en el versículo 7 puedes ver cómo los israelitas realmente son inteligentes y tratan de no ser engañados.
Then the men of Israel said to the Hivites, perhaps you dwell among us, so how can we make a covenant with you? They realize, what if you're not from a far place? What if you're from right around the corner?
Entonces podemos ver en el versículo 7 cómo le dicen, ¿y qué tal si no eres de un lugar lejano? ¿Qué tal si eres de entre este lugar?
But they said to Joshua, verse 8, why are your servants, we are your servants. And Joshua said to them, who are you and where do you come from? They said to him, from a very far country your servants have come, because the name of the Lord your God, for we have heard his fame and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond the Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, to Og king of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. So it's funny because they say, we've heard what you have done, and they mention Egypt, and they mention the first two battles which happened years before the battle of Jericho and Ai.
Entonces es gracioso porque ellos dicen, hemos escuchado lo que su pueblo ha hecho, y mencionan a Egipto y las otras dos batallas que han tenido muchos años antes de llegar a Canaán.
So the people of Israel would say, oh, well, they didn't even mention Jericho, they didn't even mention Ai. Maybe they are from a far place.
Entonces los de Israel pudieron pensar, bueno, no mencionaron la batalla de Jericó ni mencionaron la batalla de Ai, tal vez sí son de un lugar lejano.
Therefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country, verse 11, spoke to us, saying, take provisions with you for the journey and go meet them, and say to them, we are your servants, now therefore make a covenant with us. The bread this bread of ours we took hot for our provision from our houses the day we departed to come to you, but look, now it's dry and moldy. And these wineskins were filled with new, were new, and see, now they are torn, and these garments and these sandals have become old because of the long journey. The men of Israel took some of the provisions, and this is the key verse, but they did not ask counsel of the Lord. So they had a hunch, what if these people are from here? But then when they see the evidences that they're from a far country, they do not, what's the word it uses? They do not seek counsel of the Lord, and they said, okay, we'll make a treaty.
Entonces en el versículo 14 podemos ver la clave que ellos se dieron cuenta de que tal vez estas personas estaban mintiendo y no eran de un lugar lejano, pero al ver la evidencia que les presentaron, dice en el versículo 14 que ellos no consultaron a Jehová y se dejaron guiar por las evidencias.
So Joshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live, and the rulers of the congregation swore to them. And it happened that at the end of 3 days, after they made a covenant with them, that they heard that they were neighbors who dwelt near them. Can you imagine that moment?
¿Se imaginan ese momento cuando se dieron cuenta que sí eran de entre ahí,
Like,
ese lugar?
dang it, they're our neighbors.
Se dieron cuenta y de seguro dijeron, ay no manches, son nuestros vecinos.
It's like all of a sudden you see them strolling down, the street with their kids, and it's like, where'd you get your kids from?
Y es como si de repente los vieran pasar ahí con sus hijos y se preguntaran, ¿de dónde sacaron esos hijos?
They were completely fooled.
Que fueron completamente engañados.
At verse 17, then the children of Israel journeyed on the third day. Now their cities and 4 other names. But the children of Israel, because of the rulers of the congregation, to them all the congregation. They were deceived true to their covenant.
Eso es interesante. Cuenta de que habían sido engañados el pacto, aunque ellos los.
And so it says, then the rulers of the congregation, and the children of Israel did not attach, and it sworn to them by the Lord. The congregation complained against Israel, was in agreement, but they deceived us, let's attack them, let's kill them.
Del pueblo de Israel estaba de, ¿sabes qué? Ellos nos engañaron.
And then verse 19 says, and all the we have sworn to them by the Lord, now therefore but this we will do, lest wrath come upon swore to them. Let them live, but let them be warriors, for all the conquerors had promised. Kill them because we made a promise, and we don't want to break that promise. Servants, and we will make.
Entonces lo que dijeron es que nuestro pacto, porque no solamente no a Dios, pero lo que es que los vamos a convertir en nuestros esclavos.
And then it says, and he spoke to them, saying, why? Saying, we are from and you dwell near us, cursed, none slaves and woodcutters, and for the house of my God. And said, because the servants were told that the Lord your God, his servant Moses, to give all the inhabitants of the land, therefore we were very much afraid of you, and we have done this. Here we are in your hand, good and right to do to them, and delivered them out of the hand, did not kill them, and cutters and water carriers, and for the altars which and so he says, we will not kill you, but to be slave, cut wood, and carry wood.
Josué les dijo, pero ustedes van a cargar nuestra agua para la casa de mi Dios.
I have bring out of the entire chapter.
Tengo 5 puntos que quiero con todo el capítulo.
Kind of taking of Israel.
Tomando Israel.
The point number 1, the most dangerous when we don't think that.
El lugar más peligroso creemos que no necesitamos.
These people we've defeated AI. We don't need to counsel.
Porque el pueblo de Israel estaba, vencimos a Jericó, ya vencimos, no son de muy lejos, entonces 14 no necesitamos.
And you would think they would be who have been following the series. It happened at AI that they had insulting God.
Aquí en los otros servicios, ¿por qué tiene que pasar si eso ya fueron contra AI?
Not a big deal. We're not going to war. We don't do this.
Y tal vez el pueblo no es nada, no vamos a entrar en guerra, es un lugar muy lejano. Y esto es lo que
no idea life are going to have.
Nosotros no tenemos ni idea de nuestra vida que van a algo muy
things that we've thought this is the decision of my life and it all.
Hay decisiones, una de las decisiones más y no pasó nada.
And there's this this is tiny. This one ends up being the biggest decision.
Decisiones que tú dices, este es un sin importar repercutir en mi vida en gran resultado.
Just example.
Déjame.
I know a lot of people, their spouses, because to go to.
Que han conocido al que ni que siquiera querían.
Had they not gone, they would.
y si han conocido a su
And
cónyuge.
absolutely every event saying, okay,
Pero no estoy diciendo que si eres soltero vas a decir, ok, a ver si lo encuentro.
no idea is going to be from this small.
Pero lo que es la idea de resultados pequeñas o grandes,
Most people only decisions are big, decisions are small.
y unas buscan a Dios, es muy importante, pero no lo buscan.
And I know a little superstitious.
Y es un poco supersticioso,
I'll pray about everything,
orar por todo.
and now going to be some kind of response.
Respecto va a haber algún
I
tipo.
go to the store and I got Coke. God, please
O
reveal.
sea, estás diciendo que si voy a la y tengo Pepsi y yo órate,
If I'm going to buy a cell phone, is it mobile? You know,
o si compro, Señor,
I won't buy anything until your word.
y no voy
Lord,
a comprar nada hasta que no me lo que debo de comprar.
That's
Eso suena raro, pero déjate digo esto.
not receive a yes.
A pesar de que tal vez no va una respuesta de...
And I will assure you that you will say, get Coke.
Puedo asegurar que no vas a leer cómprate una Coca-Cola.
Things will put you in mind to make the best decision.
Estar en oración va en la mentalidad correcta.
Having a good free you from maybe not a ton of bad decisions.
Vida de oración activa, libre de todas las malas decisiones, muchas malas
Like I said, most
decisiones.
people consult God, pray to God.
Es que ni siquiera consultan o
We make our own decision to bless it.
lo que propias decisiones y después
God's not a paramedic or emergencies, though He's a counselor that's trying to guide you.
Dios no es un para remediar tus aunque sí lo puede hacer, busca guiar nuestra vida.
That it's better to build a fence hospital at the bottom.
Mejor construir un cerro que construir un abajo.
And this is what God wants us in His path, not problems that we've created.
Él quiere guiarnos en nuestro arreglar las hemos tomado.
The most dangerous place that we need God's guidance.
Eso para nosotros es cuando vamos a ser guiados por Dios.
Point not controversial.
El punto número un poco controversial
We need our promises.
esas promesas.
The reason I say it because of this story, because a lot of they should have kept this covenant. Because on one hand, God said that. On the other hand, they made.
Y la razón por la cual es porque pudieron ellos nación porque Dios a las naciones esta promesa.
Into was it right or wrong? I say this. If and it's not sin, see it through. You need that respects your word.
Tanto en esta historia si que cuando hemos hecho y no es si no nos lo pecar o no hemos entregado esa promesa.
Some of you probably shouldn't have committed to.
Ustedes se han ido con cosas que no debieron
Full, but it's just not.
no es pecado nada.
This happens to me more often than I would like.
Ido de lo que quisiera.
An example, I travel a lot, conferences and that kind of stuff.
Pues dando un ejemplo, no, yo viajo mucho para ir a conferencias y todas esas cosas.
And there's been times where I should have said no.
Y hay veces cuando yo debía haber dicho que no.
And just last week, I taught at a church planting school in Tijuana where it was 5 hours a day. It was exhausting.
Simplemente la semana pasada estuve en Tijuana dando una clase de cómo plantar iglesias por 5 horas diarias y fue exhaustivo.
And this was on the tail end of 3 weeks of traveling.
Y antes de esto yo ya había viajado por 3 semanas.
Now, I committed,
Ahora me comprometí,
so I went.
así que fui.
Ideally, I should have said no. My wife's 8 months pregnant.
Pero lo que debía haber hecho es decir, no puedo, mi esposa está embarazada
I've been traveling for 2 weeks.
y ya he estado viajando por 2 semanas.
You know what? I'd love to help you, but I can't this time.
Y sabes que me encantaría ayudarles, pero esta vez no puedo.
Making right decisions will keep you from having to commit, or rather, will keep you from having to fulfill the things which you have committed to.
Y el tomar la decisión correcta te va a ayudar a poder cumplir las cosas con las que te has comprometido.
But here's the thing, and this might not be exactly like pulled out from the text, but I think it's really important.
Y esta es la cosa que tal vez no salga directamente del texto, pero creo que es muy importante.
I think a prime example of this is marriage.
Creo que un gran ejemplo de eso es el matrimonio.
The word that he uses here, make a covenant, is the same word that the Bible uses for marriage, that it's a covenant of marriage.
Y la palabra que usa aquí para un pacto es la misma palabra que se usa en el pacto del matrimonio.
And a lot of people did not marry what they think is the right person.
Y muchas personas se casaron con lo que ahora piensan que no fue la persona correcta.
Or maybe you got married being a non-Christian and now you're a Christian and now there's a whole bunch of tension because you practice two different faiths.
O tal vez te casaste y no eras cristiano y ahora que eres cristiano hay mucha tensión porque se están practicando fes diferentes.
And you're like, whatever, I'm over it.
Y tal vez piensas, ya basta, ya estoy harto.
And what I would say is you need to be faithful to that covenant.
Y lo que yo te diría es que necesitas ser fiel a ese pacto.
I'm not saying there's never a biblical grounds for divorce, but what I am saying is that the majority of people that get a divorce get it for the wrong reasons.
Y no estoy diciendo que no hay suficiente evidencia bíblica para poder divorciarse, pero lo que estoy diciendo es que hay muchas personas que se divorcian por las razones equivocadas.
What I'm saying is two wrongs don't make a right.
Lo que estoy diciendo es que dos errores no hacen algo correcto.
Two mistakes doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing.
Dos errores no significa que estás haciendo lo correcto.
If you've committed to somebody in marriage,
Si te has comprometido con alguien en matrimonio,
even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, you're called to love that person. You're called to be patient with that person. You're called to be forgiving with that person.
aun si es difícil, tú te has comprometido a amar a esa persona, a ser paciente con esa
So that's
persona.
point number two. We need to fulfill our promises to the best of our ability.
Así que ese es el punto número 2. Necesitamos cumplir nuestras promesas lo mejor que podamos.
Point number 3.
Punto número 3.
It's better to be cursed and be part of God's people than to be blessed and be outside of God's people.
Es mejor ser un maldito y ser parte del pueblo de Dios que dichoso y estando afuera de la familia de Dios.
I think this is so weird and interesting
Yo creo que eso es tan raro e interesante.
that it says those who, the Gibeonites, they're going to work in God's house and they're accursed.
Que estas personas van a trabajar para la casa de Dios, pero son malditos.
That to me sounds so weird.
Eso suena tan raro para mí.
Wouldn't it be a blessing to work at God's house?
¿Que no sería una bendición trabajar en la casa de Dios?
Wouldn't it be a blessing to be there and cut wood and get water for the priests and the sacrifices?
¿Que no sería una bendición el estar cortando leña y acarrear agua para los sacerdotes de la casa de Dios?
The curse was that they were going to be slaves.
La maldición es que ellos iban a ser esclavos.
But at the end they said, do with us whatever you want. We'd rather be saved and be accursed in God's house than to be out there and be free but be destroyed later on.
Y lo que estas personas dicen es, ¿sabes qué? Nosotros nos entregamos, nosotros preferimos ser malditos, pero estar trabajando dentro de la casa de Dios, a ser libres, pero con el temor de que un día nos van a destruir.
David said something similar.
Y David dijo algo similar.
David said, it's better to be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than to be a king somewhere else.
Dice que es mejor estar atendiendo la puerta de la casa de Dios a ser un rey en un lugar muy lejano.
It's better to be a servant in God's house than to be a king elsewhere.
Es mejor ser un siervo, un esclavo en la casa de Dios a ser un rey en un lugar muy lejano.
Let me say this. Even in your sins, God is compassionate.
Y déjate, digo eso, que aún en tu pecado Dios es compasivo.
Even though these guys lied and even though these guys deceived Israel,
A pesar de que esas personas mintieron y engañaron al pueblo de Israel,
God is putting them in a place where they can be exposed to the temple and the sacrifices and what God did for them.
Dios tiene compasión y los expone a estas prácticas de los sacrificios y a su templo para que ellos vean lo que Dios puede hacer.
This is similar to something that Paul told the people of Athens.
Y eso es algo muy similar a lo que Pablo le dijo a las personas de Atenas.
He says, you are idolaters.
Les dice, ustedes son idólatras.
But God has placed you in the place where you are now so that you might seek God and find him.
Pero Dios los ha puesto en este lugar para que lo busquen y lo encuentren.
God is so good that even when we sin, he makes sure to place us in a place where we can find him and search him and love him.
Dios es tan compasivo que aun cuando pecamos, Él se asegura de ponernos en un lugar donde nosotros podamos buscarlo y encontrarlo.
In that sense, you and I are like the Gibeonites.
Y tú y yo somos como los
Gibeonites.
Gibeonitas.
That we have done what is wrong, and even though we have done what is wrong, God has treated us good with compassion and love.
Que nosotros hemos hecho lo malo y a pesar de eso, Dios nos ha dado de su amor y nos ha tratado bien.
Point number 4.
Punto número 4.
God prefers an alliance or rather, Satan prefers an alliance than a war.
Satanás prefiere una alianza a una guerra.
The first thing that Satan does is try to team up with you, if you will, as opposed to be an enemy with you.
Lo que Satanás prefiere es hacer una alianza contigo a ir en contra de ti.
We think Satan wants us all to be Hitlers and evil and, it's bad.
Satanás, tal vez pienses que Satanás quiere que todos nosotros seamos como Hitler y seamos muy malos.
But Satan prefers you to be neither good nor bad,
Pero Satanás en realidad prefiere que no seas ni bueno ni malo,
cold or hot,
que no seas ni caliente ni frío,
Christian or secular.
que seas cristiano o secular.
He wants you just to exist,
Él simplemente quiere que
not
existas,
do much,
que no hagas mucho,
be mediocre,
que seas mediocre,
not do anything for God, not do much against God,
que no hagas nada para Dios ni nada en contra de Dios.
maybe be a bit religious.
Tal vez que seas un poco religioso.
That is what Satan prefers for us.
Eso es lo que Satanás prefiere para nosotros.
He rather gets you in a place where you're comfortable than a place where you're at war with him.
Él prefiere ponerte en un lugar donde estés cómodo en vez de estar en guerra contra ti.
And Satan will give us certain things so that we forget God.
Y Satanás nos va a dar ciertas cosas para que nosotros nos olvidemos de Dios.
And this is so weird for us
Y eso es tan raro para nosotros.
because we assume, okay, sickness comes from Satan and blessing comes from God.
Porque nosotros pensamos, ok, la enfermedad viene de Satanás, pero la bendición viene de Dios.
There's a verse that says, don't give me so much that I'll forget you.
Hay un versículo que dice, no me des tanto que yo no sea que me olvide de ti.
Some of the people that are furthest from God are people that are successful, that are wealthy, that are well off.
Algunas de las personas que están más alejados de Dios son aquellos que tienen éxito y tienen riquezas.
And Satan's good with that.
Y a Satanás, no, o sea, eso le parece bien.
He'll give you a nice, warm, comfy ride as long as you don't follow Jesus and you don't do anything for him.
Satanás te va a llenar de comodidades y mientras con la condición de que tú nunca sigas a Jesús.
And it seems so innocent.
Y eso parece tan inocente.
Many times the thing that most derails us and hurts us are just small things, small places of disobedience, small places where we obey Satan, not God.
Y muchas de las cosas que nos hieren o que nos destruyen son pequeñas, las cosas pequeñas en las que no somos obedientes a Dios y somos obedientes a Satanás.
Point number 5, and I end with this.
El punto número 5 y terminamos con esto.
Jesus is better than Joshua.
Jesús es mejor que Josué.
The nations came to Joshua
Las naciones vinieron a Josué
and they said, make a treaty with us.
y ellas dijeron, haz un pacto con nosotros.
The only reason why Joshua would make a treaty with this nation would be to be bigger, to have more influence, to have more power.
Y la única razón por la cual Josué haría un pacto con esas naciones es para tener más espacio, para tener más poder.
The instructions were clear. Canaan, which is the promised land, that belongs to you. That's what you need to conquer.
Y ellos habían recibido un mensaje muy directo que le dijeron, Canaán, la tierra prometida, es de ustedes, tienen que ir a conquistarla.
But why would he be interested in making a treaty with somebody that's not even close to where they live?
Pero ¿por qué Josué estaría interesado en hacer un pacto con unas personas que ni siquiera son de por ahí cerca?
Because that would make him bigger, that would make him stronger, that would make him more influential.
Porque eso le daría más influencia, porque eso lo haría más poderoso.
Something similar happened with Jesus,
Y algo similar pasó con Jesús,
where Satan takes him and shows him all the nations of the world.
en donde Satanás lo toma y lo lleva a enseñarle todas las naciones del mundo.
And Satan says, if you just bow down and worship me, I will give you all of this.
Y Satanás le dice, si tú te arrodillas y me alabas, todo eso será tuyo.
If you make a treaty with me, I will give you all of this.
Si tú haces un pacto conmigo, todo eso será tuyo.
And what does Jesus do?
¿Y qué es lo que hace Jesús?
He quotes scripture.
Él cita la escritura.
He says, you will only worship God.
Dice, solamente a Dios alabarás.
Where Joshua failed to seek God, Jesus did.
En donde Josué falló al buscar a Dios, Jesús sí lo hizo.
And here's why that matters.
Y aquí es la razón por la que esto importa.
Jesus had to be perfect in order to be a spotless sacrifice.
Jesús tuvo que ser perfecto para hacer el sacrificio santo, sin mancha.
And there would be things that don't seem evil, but had God done them, it would have wrecked him and it would have wrecked those around him.
Y hubo muchas cosas que no parecían ser malas en sí, pero que si Jesús las hubiera hecho, hubiera repercutado en todos nosotros.
Is it evil to turn bread into, or rather a rock into bread?
¿Es acaso algo malo de convertir las piedras en pan?
Is it evil to throw yourself off the temple and have angels come and rescue you?
¿O es algo malo haberse aventado del templo y para hacer que los ángeles te rescataran?
Is it something evil to want to have control over all the nations of your Jesus?
¿Sería algo malo querer tener el control sobre todas las naciones si eres Jesús?
No, but he was unwilling to do it Satan's way.
No, no era malo, pero él no estaba dispuesto a hacer, a obrar en la manera que Satanás
And
le
so
dijo.
Jesus is obedient to the Father
Así que Jesús es obediente al Padre
so that he could be our sacrifice, our perfect sacrifice.
para que él pudiera hacer nuestro sacrificio perfecto.
That God is willing to send his Son to live on our behalf, to die on our behalf, to give us eternal life.
Y Dios estuvo dispuesto a mandar a su Hijo por nosotros, a morir por nosotros y a sufrir por nosotros.
And like I said, you and I are like the Gibeonites.
Y tú y yo somos como los Gibeonitas.
We try to come to God on our terms.
Nosotros intentamos llegar a Dios con nuestras reglas
We lie, we try to get approval from other people.
y mentimos y tratamos de ser tener la aprobación de las personas.
And God, instead of seeing us and saying, I want to destroy you, which is what the people of Israel wanted to do,
Y Dios nos ve y en vez de decir te quiero destruir como pensaban el pueblo de Israel,
he says, no, I will be compassionate. I will give you freedom. I will give you salvation. And we'll see next chapter. I will give you protection. That the people of Israel even protect the Gibeonites.
pero vemos como Dios dice, no, yo no te voy a destruir, yo te quiero dar compasión, te quiero dar salvación. Y vamos a ver en el capítulo 10 cómo hasta Dios les da protección porque Israel protege a los
That
Gibeonitas.
though we deserve to be treated as enemies, we're treated as friends, we're treated as family, we're treated as allies.
Que a pesar de que nosotros merecemos ser tratados como enemigos, Dios nos trata como sus amigos y nos protege.
So just to recap, be careful when you don't think you need to seek God for your decisions.
Así que para concluir, ten cuidado cuando pienses que no necesitas ser guiado por Dios.
Be careful to keep your promises.
Ten cuidado y trata de cumplir tus promesas.
Understand that it's better to have a rough life and be with Jesus than to have a nice life and be without him.
Tienes que recordar que es preferible tener una vida difícil, pero estar con Jesús, a tener una vida fácil, pero terminar sin Jesús.
Be careful because Satan rather distract you than attack you.
Ten cuidado porque Satanás prefiere distraerte a atacarte.
And number 5, remember that Jesus is a better Joshua and we can rest in him.
Y número 5, recuerda que Jesús es un mejor Josué y podemos descansar en él.
Will you stand with me and we'll pray?
¿Se pueden poner de pie, por favor, y vamos a orar?
Jesus, we thank you so much for this word.
Jesús, te damos tantas gracias por esta palabra.
We thank you that you treat us so well, even though we're like the Gibeonites.
Te damos gracias que tú nos tratas tan bien a pesar de que somos como los Gibeonitas.
That even though we come to you and we don't understand what you want from us,
Que a pesar de que venimos a ti sin entender qué es lo que tú quieres de nosotros,
we try to bargain, we try to barter,
que tratamos de hacer lo que más nos conviene
and we don't realize that we don't even deserve to be here.
y no nos damos cuenta que ni siquiera merecemos estar aquí.
But I thank you that you forgive even people who are messed up.
Pero te doy gracias de que tú perdonas a una de las personas que están mal,
That you have hope even for those who are distant.
que tienes esperanza aún para aquellos que están distantes
That you have a plan even for those who are apathetic.
y que tienes un plan para incluso aquellos que son apáticos.
Jesus, I know that you want to speak to us through this story, even though it's just a random story that happened 3,500 years ago.
Y te damos gracias que tú nos quieres hablar por medio de esta historia que pasó hace más de 3,500 años.
But we remember
Y que podamos recordar
that this is warfare.
que eso es una guerra,
But Satan would rather distract us,
pero que Satanás prefiere distraernos,
having us doing things that don't really matter.
que él prefiere ponernos a hacer cosas que realmente no importan,
That he has no problem with us being successful in things that don't really impact.
que él no tiene ningún problema con que nosotros seamos exitosos y que no hagamos nada para ti.
Help us to resist the enemy.
Ayúdanos a resistir el enemigo.
Help us to seek you in prayer.
Ayúdanos a buscarte en la oración.
Help us to honor you above all.
Ayúdanos a honrarte por sobre todo.
And that you would keep us from these decisions that will hurt us and those around us.
Y que tú nos mantengas alejados de esas malas decisiones que nos pueden destruir.
We need you, Jesus. We need your help.
Te necesitamos, Jesús, necesitamos de tu ayuda.
We pray that you would send the Holy Spirit to help us.
Y pido que mandes al Espíritu Santo a ayudarnos.
In Jesus' name,
En el nombre de Jesús.
amen.
Amén.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's message. We're always so encouraged to know how the Lord is using this ministry to change lives. If any of the messages from this church have touched you in any way, we would love to hear about it. Please email us at horizonteministries@gmail.com. Also, if you would love to get involved financially with what the Lord is doing here in Mexico through Horizonte Ministries, you can do so online. Thank you for listening. God bless you.